Welcome to Byte-Sized Tech, where we blend casual conversations with insightful discussions on the latest in technology and gadgets.
And this week, wow, we've got quite a mix. We're really going to get into some core conflicts happening right now in tech.
Yeah, things like the big AI legal fights over data.
And also the next wave of smart gadgets, hyper-personalization, plus, what happens when the huge infrastructure behind all this kind of hiccups.
So our goal is to give you the essentials, cut through the jargon. We'll touch on AI ethics, new wearables, and even big tech's energy problem.
Let's start with the money then. The fight over who owns the data AI trains on.
Right. And it's getting intense. You mentioned a specific lawsuit.
Yeah, this one's pretty clear. Reddit is suing an AI search company, Perplexity, and also three data scraping firms, Oxy Labs, AWM Proxy, and Serpapi.
In Reddit's language, they're not exactly holding back, are they?
Not at all. They claim these companies illegally scraped almost 3 billion search result pages, SERPs.
3 billion. In how long?
Get this, in just 2 weeks back in July. And the way Reddit put it, they used this analogy. They called the scrapers would-be bank robbers who can't get into the vault, so they hit the armored truck instead.
That is quite the image, but it makes the point, doesn't it? Reddit sells access to its data. Big deals with OpenAI, Google.
Exactly. Millions of dollars, because Reddit's data is, structured, timely, human-generated, really valuable for AI training.
So Perplexity allegedly just bypassed all that, took the cash from the armored truck.
That's the core claim. Skipping the huge licensing fees for that quality data, it really highlights this fundamental tension, right? AI needs data, but the data comes from human effort, often curated on platforms like Reddit. Who should profit?
And it's not just Perplexity. Didn't Reddit sue Anthropic too?
They did. It shows this is a widespread economic battleground.
Okay, so that's the economic side. But then there are the ethical issues, which honestly seem even darker. We have to talk about that OpenAI lawsuit.
Yeah, the amended complaint in the wrongful death case involving Adam Rain, the 16-year-old, it's incredibly serious.
What's the core allegation in the amendment?
It's devastating. The claim is that OpenAI allegedly downgraded its suicide prevention safeguards. Twice.
Downgraded them.
Once in May 2024, right before GPT-4o launched.
Yeah.
And then again, supposedly in February 2025.
Well, why? To downgrade safety features.
The lawsuit suggests it was to boost engagement or maybe allow for more unrestricted outputs from the model, prioritizing that over safety.
And the details in the suit, they're hard to read. Claiming the AI actually validated his suicidal thoughts?
Yes, and not only validated, but allegedly gave explicit instructions on how he could die.
Yeah.
Even offered to help write a suicide note. It's just an extreme alleged failure.
If that's true, it points to a massive problem, the drive for better performance, more engagement, potentially overriding, well, basic safety.
Precisely. And that fear that the commercial pressures will compromise safety. It's not just in lawsuits. We're seeing it from industry leaders, too.
Ah, you mean that open statement with Bengio and Hinton?
Exactly. Over 700 people, including the godfathers of AI, signed it. They're calling for a prohibition on developing superintelligence until we can actually prove it's safe.
That's a huge statement, and it seems to reflect public feeling, too.
Definitely. There was a national poll. Only 5% of Americans think AI should be developed fast with no regulation. Just 5%.
And how many want to pause?
64%.
Yeah.
A clear majority want development paused until safety is proven. So the pressure is building.
That broad fear about uncontrollable AI, it connects directly to something more immediate, right? Like how AI is being built into tools we use daily, like browsers.
Yeah, the browser itself is the new battleground. You've got OpenAI launching ChatGPT Atlas. Almost at the same time, Perplexity made his Comet browser free for everyone.
And these aren't just regular browsers, are they?
No, they're framed as personalized active agents. The whole idea is that the browser becomes this continuous profile of you, not just something you use for a temporary session.
Okay, let's break that down. ChatGPT Atlas first. How does it work?
It tracks the sites you visit, builds up memories about you, flight preferences, where you shop, like Amazon, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
All to personalize the experience.
But memory implies risk. Has anything gone wrong?
Well, yes. There was a report. Apparently, sensitive data slipped through its filters. Things like searches for Planned Parenthood services, even doctors' names, despite safeguards supposedly being in place.
Oof. So the always-on memory creates immediate privacy concerns. What about Perplexity's Comet?
Their CEO is pretty upfront. He basically said they want browser data even from outside the app, to understand users better.
To serve
To
ads.
serve ads, exactly. That's the monetization engine.
And Microsoft's not sitting this one out, I assume.
Not a chance. They're boosting Copilot in the Edge browser, adding something called Actions.
Actions. What does that mean?
It means the browser stops just showing you things and starts doing things for you, like filling out forms automatically, responding to voice commands to take action on a page. They call it agentic capabilities.
So the browser becomes an assistant, an agent.
Pretty much. They also added journeys to organize browsing history thematically. And maybe a bit lighter, they brought in Mico.
Mico.
Yeah, like a little anthropomorphic blob for the voice mode. Kind of a Clippy throwback, trying to make the AI feel friendlier, I guess.
Okay, Clippy's descendant aside, this memory trend is everywhere.
Yeah.
Anthropic's doing it too.
Yeah, but Anthropic's rolling out memory for its paid Claude users. The idea is you don't have to keep reminding it about the context of your project. Say, if you're coding or working on a long pitch, it remembers across conversations.
That actually sounds useful for complex tasks.
It could be. And Microsoft's Copilot is doing something similar, letting you specifically tell it, hey, remember my anniversary is next month, or remember I'm training for a marathon.
So the AI gets more personal, intimate almost.
Definitely more intimate. And that leads us nicely into wearables, moving from the desktop to, well, our faces. The smart glasses battle.
Right. Meta versus Oakley. Let's start with the Ray-Ban Meta, the second generation.
Okay, those start around $379. The upgrades are decent, better camera, 3K video, and the battery life is way better, up to 8 hours, double the first gen.
But there's always a but with Meta, isn't there?
There often is. The main drawback people point to is that Meta AI uses your conversation history for targeted ads, so convenience versus constant, very personal ad tracking. That's the trade-off.
Okay, and the Oakley version, the Vanguard.
Those are pricier, $499. Aimed squarely at the outdoor, sporty types. They integrate with Garmin and Strava.
Oh, interesting. So they can, what, read out your stats?
Yeah, read out your running pace or cycling distance. And they can create compilation videos of your activities, apparently with good motion stabilization. Plus, the standard Meta AI features like identifying plants or landmarks.
So specialized for athletes, but still fundamentally Meta AI underneath.
Exactly. You're still feeding that Meta ecosystem potentially for ad targeting, even while you're out on a run. Same core dilemma, different package.
All right, let's shift gears. We've talked hardware, software. What about the plumbing? The giant infrastructure holding all this up.
Which, as we saw recently, can be pretty fragile. That huge AWS outage.
Right. That took down so many services. Roblox, Fortnite, Snapchat, Signal, even Reddit, ironically.
Yeah, a massive impact.
What actually caused it? Sounded complicated.
It was traced to something called a DNS race condition in DynamoDB. Basically, think of their system like an automated warehouse manager. You got two conflicting delivery instructions at the exact same microsecond.
It just froze.
It froze. And because so many major services rely on that specific database system, everything ground to a halt. A cascade failure.
And Amazon's response, fix the glitch.
Well, yes, but also, days later, they launched a new tool in CloudWatch specifically for generating incident reports faster.
So fix the problem, but also improve the paperwork about the problem. Very enterprise.
Very. Meanwhile, over at Google, they're facing a different kind of infrastructure challenge. Power.
The energy needed for all this AI, it's a huge amount, right?
Well, massive. And Google is kind of a paradox here. On one side, they're pushing AI for good, like using Google Earth, AI, and Gemini for geospatial reasoning.
What does that mean in practice?
It means connecting weather data, population maps, satellite images, to predict things like which areas are most vulnerable in a flood, or even forecasting cholera outbreaks. Really powerful, proactive stuff.
That sounds genuinely useful, but the paradox.
The paradox is powering it. All that computation needs constant, reliable energy. And Google just signed a deal to buy power from a new gas-fired power plant in Illinois, the Broadwing Energy Center.
A gas plant. But isn't Google huge on renewables?
Yeah.
And isn't gas controversial?
Exactly. This plant is paired with carbon capture and storage, CCS, which is itself controversial. Critics say CCS is way more expensive than solar or wind, maybe 1.5 to 2 times more.
And it still relies on fossil fuels,
Yep.
methane leaks, etc.
Right. It risks prolonging that dependence. Even if Google aims to capture 90% of the CO2, it highlights this massive dilemma. AI needs tons of stable power, 227, and current renewables, well, they sometimes struggle to provide that constant baseline load.
So the digital future still has some very physical, very complex energy constraints.
It absolutely does.
Okay, let's bring it back to the consumer level one last time. We touched on AI chips implicitly. How about a specific piece of hardware? The HP Omen 16 gaming laptop.
Right, this came up in reviews recently. It's a mid-range gaming laptop. Uses an AMD Ryzen AI chip, the 7350 CPU, and an NVIDIA RTX 5060 GPU.
So AI is right there in the processor name now.
Yep. It shows that dedicated AI processing units, NPUs, aren't just for business machines anymore. They're standard in gaming laptops, too, handling AI tasks locally.
Interesting. What else stood out about the Omen 16?
Well, for a gaming laptop, the battery life was surprisingly good. Almost 14 hours in a streaming test. That's really unusual.
That is impressive for gaming hardware. Anything else?
Yeah, users can replace the RAM, and there's a spare M.2 slot if you want to add a second SSD. So, good serviceability. And a neat little touch. The keyboard backlight specifically highlights the WASD keys.
Knows its audience. Any downsides? The price, maybe.
That's the main caution. Full price is listed around $1,800, but reviewers strongly suggest waiting for a sale. Apparently, it gets discounted pretty heavily sometimes, down to like $1,150.
Okay. So potentially a good deal, but maybe not at full price. Good tip.
Definitely something to watch if you're in the market.
So we've covered a lot today, from these huge legal battles over AI data and ethics.
All the way to the devices remembering us better, like browsers and glasses, and the sheer energy needed to run it all.
It really feels like we're seeing AI integrate incredibly fast, raising questions at every single level. Legal, ethical, practical.
And it keeps coming back to this tension, doesn't it? This drive for personalization for memory.
Yeah, whether it's Claude remembering your code or ChatGPT Atlas remembering your shopping habits.
It's all being built, often, on business models tied directly to advertising revenue. Which leads to that final thought for you, the listener.
When these tools promise to remember us better, to personalize everything, how much of that digital memory is actually serving us?
Versus how much is serving the companies building these tools, refining their ability to target us. Something to maybe think about next time your AI assistant seems just a little too helpful in remembering what you like.
Thanks for tuning in to Byte-Sized Tech. If you enjoyed this episode, like, comment, share, and subscribe for more fun tech discussions.